So Matias, let me ask you, because I mean, you have so much information inside of you and so much knowledge that your guides have been giving you. Did you sign up for this, obviously, in your soul plan and your blueprint? Do you remember going, oh, I'm gonna go through this hell. I'm gonna, go through all of this. Do you
Yes.
remember that?
Yeah, I
You
remember
do.
that. Yeah.
Well, so let me ask you this. When you finally started to come out of the quote unquote spiritual closet and start
Yes.
doing the work that you're doing, I imagine that there's a lot of people around you, family, friends, that just looked at you like you were nuts. How did you deal with losing very, close relationships? Because that happens to a lot of people who come out spiritually to do a mission or to talk or to channel or to talk about their near death experiences. It happens very often. I'd love to hear how you dealt with it.
Yeah. Well, as I said, my context was not
Yeah.
religious, but they also hadn't any belief in anything. Like they were not like against spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
but they were not into it either. Um, and when I started to speak about this, it was never from a spiritual point of view.
Mm-hmm.
It was always about me feeling this, me living that. And when I started to share it with my friends actually were very close to me, even more. Like it was
Yeah.
not like, um, yeah, for me it was very easy because actually my
Um,
friends were not like this kind of friends that making bullying to me, like, oh,
yeah.
you're crazy or whatever.
Está loco.
Yeah, está loco. No, no, no. No, actually, they were very engaged with it, and of
Nice.
course, there were some others, like in school, like always there is. But even though they said crazy things to me, like you're crazy or whatever, they all kind of believed what happened. So so even though some of them were scared of me,
Right.
some of them were like bullying me. But when they were alone with me, they would ask me questions. Um,
Amazing.
so yes, and in my family, the one that it was difficult the most for to understand was my auntie. Um, uh, it was out of her box, um, and so. But eventually, she engaged with it because um, they all knew that I am a very bad liar. Like all the people that
Right.
knows me since I was like a child, if you tell me to lie, I was like, I did it or he did it. So it was impossible for me to lie in anything. So my family was like, we believe what is happening to this guy because basically we know that he cannot lie. It's-
Right.
so that's the only reason why they believe me, basically.
That's
And
that,
yeah, so for me, I didn't have to deal much with it because
that's good.
also I never expected for someone to believe me. Actually,
Right.
like
Yeah.
I didn't have the need of why they don't believe me. Because there was always someone in my family or my friends or the neighborhood that were there listening to me or willing to share and listen what I was saying.
It's interesting because, both you and I are Latinos, and in our culture, it is kind of in the DNA, the spirituality, the psychics, the mediums, los brujos, los santeros, these kind
Yeah.
of things. It's kind of in our DNA. Why do you think? What I've always wanted to find this out. Maybe you can answer it. Why is it so culturally accepted in Latin American countries, in Caribbean countries, Central America, Mexico, that these ideas are embraced much easier than the West? Do you find that, by the way, is the truth?
Yeah, totally. Basically, the Latin reality, it's a mix of all the animistic tradition, polytheistic traditions, and African traditions all mixed as one. So all of those traditions were based in the ability to connect with spirits, in the ability to listen to the trees, to the animals, to follow a god that has feathers and a tail of a snake. So, even if Christianism came, the mix of all those cultures were so strong that spirituality is something beyond religion, because it's in the mix of traditions. In Europe, they had at least 2,000 years of just few religions, Christianism, Islam. So it was not very rich for the last 200 years in Europe. It was very few, maybe in the British Islands, Scotland, Ireland, like the most connected with the spirituality, the old traditions, maybe in the north of Scandinavia. But for the rest of Europe and all the people that moved to the United States, it was all about escaping those realities or following only one tradition. So I think that for Latin America, it's much more rich because of the African tradition coming to Central America, to Brazil, all the different tribes that were mixed and that got the spirituality of Europe, but it was just 100 years or 200 years of all these traditions mixing. Like it's still very alive. And I think that for Argentina, it's very different, because Argentina, we are kind of one of the only countries with Uruguay in South America that actually doesn't have much deep tradition from all this mix of cultures. We have much more European tradition, but our institutions from the very beginning were very laicist. So we didn't have much religion. So usually Argentina and Uruguay are much about psychoanalysis than spirituality.
Yes, they are.
So instead of saying, "Oh, a spirit told you that," it's like, who do you think you are talking to, and what is your feeling about what you are receiving? No, it's more like it's more like psychoanalysis. So everyone is like wandering instead of talking about spirits. So I think that also helped me in my environment.
To watch the full video, click on the link below, and don't forget to subscribe.